Sukhwat Prabhu is a wonderful devotee who has got very nice skills, especially mridanga and also kirtan. So he will be performing the opening kirtan and then followed by Sukhwat Prabhu, uh, today's keynote speaker is Puja Devi Dasi. Puja Devi Dasi is going to be speaking, enlightening all of us on the topic known as Who Am I? Identity crisis or transcendental enlightenment. So, um, a brief introduction about Puja Devi Dasi. She was born in Durban, South Africa, and has associated with Iskcon since her childhood, since 1988, and she took initiation from His Holiness Bhakti Marg Swami at the Center Island, Toronto, during the Rath Yatra festival in 2013. So Puja Devi Dasi is a qualified school teacher, especially assisting parents with children who experienced intellectual disabilities. She is also a practicing real estate agent. She has been a Sunday school teacher in Iskcon, both in Toronto and Brampton, from the year 2000. So approximately a good 20 plus years of experience as a Sunday school teacher. She has assisted in different services such as the Iskcon Toronto Rath Yatra festivals, and also has hosted a few Iskcon Brampton Rath Yatra festivals. Puja Devi Dasi has also attended one of the programs in Iskcon for higher education known as the Bhakti Shastri course. So we welcome Sukhwat Prabhu, Puja Devi Dasi, and all of you today to our Iskcon Niagara weekly Saturday program. For those who have joined us for the first time, I would like to welcome you all specially, and we hope that you can continue associating with this sublime movement, Iskcon Niagara. If you want to, you can mark your calendars. It happens every Saturday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time or Toronto time. So if some of you all are from outside the Toronto area, you may want to just calculate the time and just log in. It's so convenient from the convenience of our homes, especially because of this COVID environment. In one sense, it has come as a blessing because we don't have to really drive down 40 kilometers or 50 kilometers on the highway, sometimes stuck in bumper to bumper traffic. In the convenience of our homes, we are able to associate, become spiritual with like-minded people, and that way we can uplift our consciousness. So everything can be used in Krishna's service. One of our leading acharyas, Srila Rup Goswami, says, Krishna sambandha vairagya uchyate. Anything, even technology, can be used in Krishna's service. That can be used for upliftment of mankind. And that's exactly what Iskcon Niagara is doing at the moment. Very soon, once the COVID restrictions are mainly over or almost coming to a tail end and the vaccinations are out, and when it is safe to do so, we will be meeting very soon at a physical location at Niagara Falls. So we're looking forward not only to meeting you virtually every weekend, but we are looking forward to meeting you all at the location. And to stay updated, please Very soon, I will be posting a link to join our WhatsApp group and our website. There's a contact page, Iskcon Niagara.com. You can probably see it in the poster that's behind me. So, without further ado, I would like to first call upon Sukhwak Prabhu to perform today's opening kirtan. Thank you very much. All glories to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Hare Krishna. Uh, which, I'm sorry to ask you, but which one of this is Sukhwak in the names? Vaishnav Prabhu, I think we can unmute you so that you can help me identify. You can unmute yourself, Prabhuji. Vaishnav Prabhu.
That'll be San Pillai.
Thank you, Prabhuji. I have San Pillai here. So, Sukhwak Prabhu, please unmute yourself.
Bajaru re mana Shri Nanda Nandana Abhaya Charanara Bindure Bajaru re mana Shri Nanda Nandana Abhaya Charanara Bindure Bajaru re mana Shri Nanda Nandana Abhaya Charanara Durlabha Manava Janama Shatsange Taruhi Baba Shindure Durlabha Manava Janama Shatsange Taruhi Baba Shindure Durlabha Manava Janama Shatsange Taruhi Baba Shindure Sita Atapa Bata Parishana Edina Yamini Agire Sita Atapa Bata Parishana Edina Yamini Agire Bipala Shiveno Kirtana Durajana Abala Sukala Bala Gire Bala Shiveno Kirtana Durajana Abala Sukala Bala Gire Edana Yobana Putra Parijana Telekia Chiparati Edana Yobana Putra Parijana Telekia Chiparati Kamala Dala Jala Jivana Kala Mala Kamala Dala Jala Jivana Kala Mala Bajahu Haripada Nidhi Shravana Kirtana Smarana Vandana Pada Jivana Dasari Shravana Kirtana Smarana Vandana Pada Jivana Dasari Pada Bhojana Sakhi Jana Mani Vedana Govinda Dasha Abhilasa Bhojana Sakhi Jana Mani Vedana Govinda Dasha Abhilasa Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare
Hare Krishna. Hari Bol. Yeah. Can you hear us? And let's get a sound check for you, Mataji.
Yeah. Hare Krishna, everybody. Hari Bol, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, great.
Welcome. Hari Krishna.
Thank you, everybody. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prastaya Bhutale, Shimate Bhakti Vedanta Samniti Namane, Namaste Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Pracharne, Nirvisheshanvadi, Pasyata Desatane, Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you, everyone. And thank you so much to Iskcon Niagara for expanding opportunities to further Krishna consciousness even more. Thank you for the kind invitation and the opportunity to share some of the teachings that I have received and I've benefited from over the years. Welcome, everyone, to a new year, and possibly for some, even a new you. So I'm going to begin with sharing a moment with you that happened recently. I took part in a diversity and inclusion presentation along with many people from a provincial organization. I'm sure many of you work in many different types of companies, and oftentimes you're subject to some training of some sort. This was one of them. At one point, there was a request for everyone's input. And the question was something along the lines of, how do you identify yourself? Who are you? I was thinking, how should I answer this question? I had many years of listening to amazing lectures. I tried to attend courses to try to grasp just some of the concepts in the Vedas. And knowing how much I enjoy talking about Krishna consciousness to friends, I wondered if these people would have time for my answer. But given the context of the situation, I answered with a light explanation of Aham Brahmasmi. I am spirit soul. A gentle talk on I am the soul, but from time to time, I may take on a different type of body. And with that, there would be roles and performance of duties. These roles and duties, I am taught that they must be done with integrity. You should be working at 100% best effort, while conducting oneself as a good human being, showing respect and kindness to others. Well, my time was up very quickly. Unfortunately, I couldn't elaborate on the next parts of once I understand that I am not this body, I am venturing into questions about my eternal position, trying to understand how to go back to being a loving servant of God. Diversity and inclusion training is a new installment in today's society amongst companies and organizations because societal systems are so corrupted by people of ill intention that a specific training has to be in place at most organizations to check people's biases, whether they be conscious or unconscious, that's based on their beliefs of the body and everything associated with that. Race, nationality, gender, these are all becoming very problematic when people don't have the basic knowledge about Dharma or religious principles, or how to live harmoniously with each other and how to uplift society. Body-based identity questions come up in many phases of material life. We can think of some of our experiences of immigration, assimilation, teenagers, especially finding out about who they really are. How do they fit into the society? When children and youth are given opportunities to have roles that provide a sense of culture, that may include types of initiations, rituals, roles in devotional service, opportunities and the space to ask questions, then they have a higher chance of developing a sense of purpose and belonging. During youth, one of the things that is very daunting for a lot of teenagers and people in high school is to grasp what they are going to be for the rest of their life. What role will they take on in their maturity? But they have to decide it then and there. So deciding what career path they may choose means that they are choosing a cemented decision for the rest of their life. Finding out who they are and where they fit in is so important at this point as well, because that would help them formulate what type of life they're going to be living. I'm reminded of how Bhakti Maharaj Swami was so kind and tolerant of the teenagers, myself included, who attended the temple during the Sunday services many, many years ago. He saw us many times sitting idly in the balcony while the lecture was going on below, oftentimes talking nonsense, sometimes listening. He gathered us up and he started reading the Bhagavad Gita to us and with us. He came up with so many opportunities to get us involved in devotional service. He started with acting, play production, kirtan. Then there were the family involvement in the festivals and the parades. And he started the Toronto Youth Group. So this reminds me of a concept called Bhakti Lata Bija. When the spiritual master will plant the seed of devotional service in your heart, and when that devotional service grows and grows, it will grow like a creeper. These experiences with Maharajas and Swamis and people of very high learned backgrounds in Vedic knowledge helped us understand more, help us be more accountable, broadened our experiences with them, because rarely would you ever find a sannyasi or a type of guru that you could interact with, that you could have an opportunity to ask questions. So I think that a lot of the people that are born into devotee families are very fortunate, because oftentimes a devotee family may host a sannyasi that will come to their home and allow them the opportunity to provide service. So a lot of the times when we had visiting sannyasis come home, they were scary at the time because we were young and we had a lot of respect for these holy people. And many times they would see us in our teenage years and they would say, "Are you chanting? How many rounds are you doing?" And these would be, terrifying questions because you're not really chanting. And those exposures were really nice looking back, because it gave us little snippets of opportunities to serve. So beyond youth, many people, they grow up, they choose married life, and then they have children. Some people are working. Oftentimes our working systems feel like very robotic. And oftentimes people are going to work, traveling to work before COVID, typically 9 to 5, working hard and coming back home and hardly spending any time with the family, hardly any time for enjoyment. We hear this all the time at the workplace. And people are wondering, what happened to me? I used to be, such and such a person. I used to enjoy. I was known for this. I was known for that. And then they feel, I'm not enjoying. What is the point of all of this? Some people may go through a midlife crisis, and that can be seen in many forms. Some people snap, some people adapt, some people inquire. So now the main theme here is the broken societal systems of Kali Yuga, and how they cannot foster true development of self-realization, or how they cannot foster the development of self-identification for harmonious living. The social structures are as collapsed as the gates on Capitol Hill. Tat vidi pranipatana pariprashnena savaya upadekshyanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshina. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth. So inquiry is demonstrated over and over in the tradition of Vedic education. It's all about asking questions to learned scholars, to gurus, to devotees. It's all about asking questions, getting answers, going back and forth. The more you ask, the more you know. So people approach the authorities for spiritual knowledge. People approach gurus to learn about who they are. And they learn about what their constitutional position is and who is God. Further inquiry leads people to ask, how do I, with limited capacity, the small brain, how can it possibly understand who is God? And this is difficult for us to understand. It's difficult for people to understand because of God's inconceivable nature, achintya bheda bheda tattva. Srila Prabhupada said that this Iskcon is the spiritual United Nations for the world. The Bhagavad Gita explains the eternality of the soul, Krishna's energy, our forgotten loving relationship with him, how to understand him, how to develop love for him. He also explains, Krishna also explains, how long the different processes take to get back to him. He explains who he is as the seed-giving father, the friend of the devotee, and many other descriptions are given by Krishna directly. Krishna also says in the Chatur Sloki, the 4 important slokas, I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. Those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. To show them special mercy, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with a shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. It is said that when a human enters into the study of the Vedas to obtain knowledge, he begins to take part in human civilization. He advances to study further and learn about the Supreme Controller. Gradually, one understands more. Gradually, through yogic processes, he becomes a perfect yogi. But when we learn about Bhakti Yoga, the example of Mother Yasoda, she surpasses all of the studying, yogic pursuits. She is not viewing Krishna in the context of Brahman, Paramatma, or Bhagavan. She has Lord Krishna as her darling child, engaged in that loving relationship. The ultimate stage of realization is Prema Bhakti, demonstrated by Mother Yasoda. Devotees are still executing their role in material society. They're still working, they're still conducting their family life and taking care. And they are still fulfilling their work roles as well. Some of them have a seamless integration of devotional understanding while executing duties. Daily devotional routines allow for 24-hour remembrance and spiritual practice. So a lot of people say, how can you be a devotee and still work? How can you work effectively? And we can see from Lord Krishna's talking to Arjuna on the battlefield, he still had to carry out his duty as a warrior, as the best warrior, not even a mediocre one, because he was feeling torn because this was his family and teachers that he had to fight against. But Krishna has told him, you have to carry out your duty as prescribed Arjuna followed that instruction. So a lot of people ask, how can you be engaged in the spiritual life while working in the material world with people who are not devotees or not religious or not inclined? So the answer is that we'll come to this later as well, but it's basically, if you are engaged eternally all the time, if you're all constantly engaged in thinking about Krishna, remembering Krishna, and that's helped by the daily routines that you do, by the chanting, by the courses that you take, by the people that you approach for more knowledge, then always in your mind, you're training your mind to always think about Krishna constantly. When you go to the grocery store, you're thinking about what would Krishna like to eat, and your menu is circling around Krishna's taste. So none of this, none of that, but yes to these things, and so on and so forth. If you're going to work as a devotee, you're doing your best work possible, and you are applying all of your facilities to take care of your family. In the same time, whatever benefits you derive from that work, you as a devotee, you're not attached to the fruits of those actions that you perform. You still have to act. There's no option of, I'm not going to act, I'm just going to enjoy with myself, be a perfect yogi. That doesn't happen if you have a family life. If you don't, like recently there was the passing of Jiva Goswami, and he was one of the topmost respected philosophers in Vedic knowledge, and he had a role to play in government, but it wasn't necessary for him to keep that role. So he went and he preached. He had a higher role to fulfill, which was preaching and writing workbooks like the Gopala Champu. He had a lot of work to do in terms of preaching the knowledge of Lord Chaitanya. He had to go meet Lord Chaitanya and get instruction from him. And one of his first questions to Lord Chaitanya was, please explain to me, not for him. Mostly these questions are not for the people asking, but to set an example for the people that will be reading about this later. One of the questions that he started off with was, please explain to me, what is my position? Who am I? So in the daily practices of a typical devotee, people ask, well, how do you envision Krishna? What do you think of when you see Krishna? Well, this can be seen in the praise to Lord Krishna by the first created being, Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma describes what he sees, the beautiful descriptions of Lord Krishna. In everyday practice, the Govindam song, we can remember in the Govindam song, the descriptions, the beautiful descriptions of Lord Krishna. What did Lord Brahma see? What was he attracted to? What was that vision? We have that in the books. It's called the Brahma Samhita. So if you have a chance to read the translations, those will give you a beautiful pictorial of what you can envision Krishna to look like. So devotees are engaged, like Sukhabak singing before was so nice. In that song, Bajahu Re Mana, we can do and engage in the 9 processes of devotional service. Have your family engaged or partly engaged, whatever they like to be engaged in, singing, reciting, remembering, chanting, practicing. And we can add to this all the wonderful descriptions given by the authorities. And the authorities are the sober people that are not self-motivated. These are the loving devotees in the line of the disciplic succession, the parampara. They are presenting the knowledge of the absolute truth as it is, with no purpose for self-gain, nothing to, put themselves up. This is only to enlighten people to who they really are and the greatness of who Krishna is. So devotees are functioning in various roles and contributing to society while conscious that they are always engaging with Lord Krishna's energy, internally worshipping while externally carrying out their prescribed duties. So we all may think, oh, this is not pure, I may not want to be there, or I can't do my job because this doesn't align with my philosophy. Our philosophy is such that this is all Krishna's energy. So we can engage, we can go out into the world, we can take care of our family, we can take care of society, we can engage with all of these different energies because it's Krishna's energy. So for a spiritualist, for a devotee, they see everything as Krishna's energy, the tree, the dog, the cat, the mean person, everybody. This is all Krishna's energy. This body is Krishna's energy. So we have that kind of respect and outlook when we're out in the working world. So devotee life is not exclusionary. It's not fanatical. There's an understanding that everybody is a devotee, but with different layers and coverings and different levels of forgetfulness. And people are at different stages of their understanding. So there's many coverings that we have around the soul, who we really are. So there's a quote, as long as the spirit soul is covered by the subtle body consisting of the mind, intelligence, and false ego, he is bound to the results of his fruitive activities. Because of this covering, the spirit soul is connected with the material energy and must accordingly suffer material conditions and reversals continually, life after life. So if we engage in the material energy in a way that binds us, then we will come back life after life. When the mind is engaged at the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, the intelligence is purified. And then the intelligence gets inspiration from the super soul, the Dami Buddhi Yogam Tam. Thus, the living entity makes progress towards liberation from material bondage. Prabhupada taught people how to love God while being a gentleman or a gentlewoman in society, so as not to be disruptive to social orders, but to operate harmoniously within them. Lord Chaitanya said to Ramananda Roy, the Varnashrama system is according to the three modes of material nature, created by Lord Krishna, but transcendental devotional service is on the absolute platform. Devotees are so kind. Even though they relish the sweet devotional service and learning about Krishna, and they can do so more with that exclusive association with other devotees, they are ready to share this process with others. They are ready to go out to teach others how to preach, how to open temples, how to do book distribution, etc. So all of these activities are engaging with the material energy, going anywhere and everywhere, using all kinds of platforms to reach people, to share the information. But they're using all of this energy to serve Krishna. It's like, I read that it is like when somebody is climbing out of a bad situation, they find a ladder. They're climbing up the ladder, but not selfishly kicking away the ladder once they're up. Devotees are always in the mindset of, I have this valuable thing, now I have to share it. And I'll help you get out of your bad situation. The qualities of a topmost devotee include being equipoised throughout happiness and distress. Equanimity. They see God in everyone and everything as Lord Krishna's energy. Prabhupada's example of being so extremely compassionate to people, or to all sorts of people, helping them and giving them opportunities. Prabhupada was very merciful to everybody he saw in the West. At that time, in the late 60s, there were a lot of hippies, a lot of people with drug problems, and people that are lost. And these days, there's a lot of people to help. There's many people to share this information with, regardless of their situation. Anyone can take to Krishna consciousness, just starting with the chanting. One who appreciates, Krishna teaches us in Bhagavad Gita, our position, our true identity, our relationship with him, and he explains who he is. A devotee's life is shaped in a way to carry out their actions, their duties, without attachment to the fruits of those actions. Anya abhilasita sunyam, without material desires. Niskama karma. These actions take place without attachment to any results of whatever actions or duties you have to perform. So you're not attached to any of the results. One who appreciates the teachings of Lord Krishna, the conclusions of the Vedas, can live happily anywhere. Everything material and spiritual is Lord Krishna's energy. They are reminded and thinking about Lord Krishna all the time. They're chanting, they're remembering, and it can be a sweet life. When people start to inquire, when they start to take their true identity seriously, they function with an attitude of gratitude, compassion to everyone. Using intelligence and discretion, they make the best of a bad situation. So we are all on the path of becoming devotees. And it says, Shipram Bhavati Dharmatma. There's a verse, he quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. There's another verse that says, oh, sorry, that was the verse. Even though an aspiring devotee may be on the path, nobody is perfect or fully purified yet. We still all have our habits, our tendencies, our anarthas. Things may still be there that are lingering that may not be conducive to a pure devotional mindset right away, but it will happen. So it's understood that the example is given that if you pull the plug out of an electric fan with no power remaining, the fan will still spin. But it is understood that it will stop soon. Understanding of our loving relationship with God, our actions, the nishkama karma, and coming to learn about who God is, the ultimate goal of life, love for God. These form the sambandha, abhidaya, and prayojana that's taught in the Vedas. Sambandha is who we are in relation, our relationship with Lord Krishna. Do we envision that as a friend, a father, a son? Abhidaya pertains to all actions in material and spiritual roles. Material dutiful actions are dovetailed to please Lord Krishna, offering him the results, being unattached to them, developing our Krishna consciousness with the 9 processes of devotional service, and serving the spiritual master. These are some of the actions. And all of these activities and actions and thinking about the relationship is for what? That is the prayojana, the ultimate goal, love for God. We have so much to be grateful for in relation to serving the Supreme. We can use our talents, our knowledge, our skills in devotional service. Trying to live in a Krishna conscious way is good fortune for society at large. Providing opportunities to learn, to use your intelligence, learn how to shape your mind. This psychology is all in the Bhagavad Gita. How to understand the world, the social systems. Krishna consciousness produces people who do not give up their dharma while they pursue the ultimate goal of life. We are thankful for all the devotees who so unselfishly spread this knowledge and give people chances to connect back to Lord Krishna. So you can be a new you. You definitely can. You just have to inquire and choose. So thank you so much. That was my short lecture. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, there are Sachidananda Das, Vaishnava Das, lots of people on the call that we can call to. Thank you so much, everybody. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Puja Mataji, that was a nice lecture. And yes, please, anybody has any questions, please direct it to Puja Devi Dasi. I'm sure she will be able to answer them. Very nicely, you brought up some very important points about self-realization, especially when you quoted that self-realization can be obtained with the mercy of a Vaishnava, Tad Viddhi Pranipatena, that verse from Bhagavad Gita. And also, the very, very, very important verse that you have quoted is the Anya Bilashata Shunya Jnana Karma Navratam. Anukulina Krishna Anushilanam Tad Bhakti Ruttam. Topmost bhakti is that bhakti that should be bereft of any kind of tinge of material motive, including material knowledge and karma, beyond karma. So very nice. I really appreciate the most important points that you brought up in the few minutes that you spoke. And the microphone will now be open for anybody who may want to direct any questions, or if there's any reflections that anybody may have, please feel free to express yourself. My only request is unmute yourself one at a time, and then that way we don't talk over each other. And then we can, kind of share our reflections or questions. Thank you. Thank you, Mataji. Anybody? I'm sure there's something, and everybody has something in their minds. And this whole forum is about self-realization, trying to uplift each other. So Srila Prabhupada had this system that after the lecture, if anybody has any queries or any comments, please feel to express them.
Hare Krishna, Puja Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for the wonderful class, Mataji. We are all lost in identities, right? In this Kali Yuga, Mataji, it's an age of hypocrisy and quarrel, and for lack of so-called spiritual knowledge, we tend to easily get loose. We lose our path or lose our identity as to who am I. The basic topic, on which you very nicely explained. So, Mataji, my question is concerning the youth of today, because youth of today are the one who are going to be, mature citizens, possibly trying to spread Krishna consciousness. So, what is your message, or what is the way out to tell them that we are not this body, we are soul? Maybe that could be a very high spiritual thing, but at least what is the way we can pinpoint in a manner in which they can understand, whereby we can say that what is the purpose of life? Where should we be heading to? Because we see, Mataji, very regrettably, we see nowadays the youth without the proper parental, coaching on Krishna consciousness gets easily carried away by, whatever is happening in or around us. So let me please, Mataji, for the benefit of everyone, we are all parents of teenagers, so we face this trouble. So how do we dovetail them to Krishna consciousness, Mataji? Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for your nice question. So I can speak on a few things. First, teaching, being involved in the Sunday school for so long, the teen kids have the most questions and they're very curious. Every teen, even myself included, when I was that age, you don't want to be in the forefront of all this information. You don't want to be involved with like saying Hari Bol and chanting out loud. Teen is a very awkward age, right? It's extremely awkward for young people to follow in their parents' footsteps right away, to take it on. For some, it doesn't happen like that. Even though the parents are fully Krishna conscious and doing everything right, encouraging everything in a nice way, it's up to that soul to take what's their journey. Are they going to take it now that the seed is there, or is that going to fructify later on in their life? Is that going to ring some bells or make them self-conscious so that it's always in the back of their mind while they're still being with their friends and acting the way you think is not correct? So it still makes a difference to see that performance regularly at home. It always makes a difference. It instills them with those memories when they're growing up. they find out who they really are, and they think, no, this doesn't gel well with who I am. This doesn't fall in line with who I am at my core. They know what's right and what's wrong. Growing up, the best thing I can say to you is that all of the kids that we were growing up with in the temple, we each took different paths to Krishna consciousness. Some took similar, some took different. But still, every step, whatever progress is made on this journey, that effort is never forgotten by Krishna. So you can do I do my utmost with my daughter, but with my family, but whatever I do, whatever they're lacking, whatever I'm lacking, that Krishna will take care of. Engagement, like Bhakti Marg Swami, my parents, the examples that I have from them of always engaging us in roles that we can do things. We have a role at the festivals. We give out information. You're responsible for the pamphlets. You're responsible for the welcoming of the guests, and you're responsible for taking care of the sannyasis' requests when they come home, or you are responsible for helping with the Sunday school, or you are responsible for helping with the temple and the kitchen. Now you have to do some volunteer service. These are all little snippets that you can include in the kids' lives. Nowadays in high school, kids have 40 hours of volunteer service that they have to dedicate in the community. So thank goodness for a local temple where they can go and say, oh, I got my 40 hours volunteering at this festival, the Sunday school, the youth group, etc. So these are all, the devotees provide a lot of opportunities for kids to get involved, which is why we're thankful that we don't just have one location that people have to travel far for. It's expanding. So kids from every city can have the opportunity. Oftentimes when we drive to the temple, the kids are left behind home because, by the time we go back home, it's too late and the kids need to be in bed. So part of the family goes. But if you have this expansion of places of worship and places to learn, it's that much more helpful for a good life. So there's lots of opportunities for kids, especially now virtually, to engage them in some kind of service. But chanting is, I would say, number one, to get them to do, say, okay, you don't have to do 16. Prabhupada said, okay, you don't have to do 32. You don't have to do 64. You can do 16, right? So you as a parent, you can say, okay, just try one. Just do one round every day. Just try one and have that as a constant. But I'm going to let the senior devotees have a chance to chat about this. Haribol.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you so much for the enlightenment. Hare Krishna.
Vaishnava Prabhuji, if you would like to add on something to this.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, we cannot listen you. Can you unmute yourself, Prabhu?
Thank you. Hare Krishna to all. That's a very challenging and interesting question.
Prabhuji, can I interrupt you for 1 second? Do you have another phone?
Yeah, one more.
In the same room?
One moment.
You sound like you are in a mountainous region where your voice is echoing. Haribol.
Hare Krishna, can you hear me?
Loud and clear now, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. I hope you can hear me now. It's a little bit of difficulty. Yeah, the question the Prabhu posed was a very, very interesting question because it is very, very difficult in North America, especially with the environment that children are immersed in, to try to break out of the North American mold. And it's the hard work of many, many religious families that are holding on to what they have. With whatever little they can do from either going to the church, synagogue, mosque, or temple, they take these children there, and hopefully some snippets of culture is ingrained in the consciousness. But all the parent can do is to try very hard at home by their own practice. If you don't practice right do not expect your child to practice right. So the main thing is, if you read the Bhagavad Gita every day, there's a chance that your children may get attracted to it. If you have all the paraphernalia at home to make it conducive for your children to have access to this type of information, then you'll find that they will make some spiritual advancement. And the key is the association. You have to have the right association for your children. That is, apart from them going out with their friends into hockey and soccer and all that, you have to have those social engagement where you're associating with devotees, and they can see the devotees' children are take to some type of God consciousness, and they could get attracted to that. So devotee association is the key. Your own practice is the key. And I think I'll let Satya take it from here. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Prabhu.
you,
That was very
Vaishnav.
valuable advice. Thank you.
Thank you, Vaishnav Prabhu. Pitambar Prabhu, nice question. And Puja Mataji, some good reflections and some good answers to his question. Both of you all have addressed some of the important points. I would like to simply just add that, and I'm speaking based on practical experience. Being in this glorious movement for over 30 plus years, I have seen many children grow up right from birth, right when my devotee friends' wives, they were pregnant, and then the firstborn and the secondborn and the thirdborn and so on. Like that, we see many devotee families grow up in the temple. And we have seen that some of these devotees' kids, especially when they're very little, they come with their parents on Sunday, they come to the temple, and they're attracted to the kirtan, they're attracted to the musical instruments, they start playing mridanga, kartal, harmonium at a very young age, and they're very nicely encouraged also in the temple environment to sing kirtans and artiks, etc. But suddenly, what happens? I've seen in many cases, these children, as soon as they grow up, they want to kind of uh, some kind of a severance from the temple environment. They don't want to be a part of it. They stop coming with their parents to the temple. And I'm sure we all understand that when they have reached a certain age, it's a very tender age where they are growing, and because of their association in their schools, and perhaps even when they grow up further into college, there is a certain different mindset. And if the foundation is not well set, then they can get carried away. I've seen families where the parents are sometimes crying. I've had very good friends of mine who said that now my son has grown up, and if you remember how he used to sing Narsinga Arti so nicely, and on Janmashtami he used to dress up like Krishna, and he was so cute, and everybody wanted to put him on his on their respective laps, all of that. But now he has completely gone astray. He started eating meat. He started associating with friends in college or in school who are into drugs and all those other nightclub scenes and stuff like that. And that is very painful. And these are practical examples that I'm talking about without taking any names. And this is more than one. And what I've found common in all those examples, right now in my head, there's at least 5 devotees, kids that are coming to my mind as I'm speaking this. The most common thing that my wife and I found is devotees sometimes get extremely fanatical, and they do not spend the time with their children. They do not give them enough time. And like Vaishnava Prabhu said, it's fine. Take them to the hockey game or to the ice skating rink or whatever is needed. That is required. They need us. Thinking that everything is Maya, and neglecting the kids, and just simply thinking, oh, now it's marathon, I must go distribute the books. So this is a very fanatical attitude. I have seen right here in the Toronto area a family or two where the fanaticism has extended beyond limits, where the little children are hungry and mom says, I have to go for book distribution. eat what's there, or tells the dad, cook whatever you can and do it. And neglecting the family is not going to please Krishna. So the number one thing is, like Prabhu said, is we have to be our own example for them. And Krishna consciousness is all about pure love. If the love is even Prabhupada, read his comments, read his letters, read his interactions with devotees. I remember a few of them, but just to kind of speak about one of them. One Mataji could not, live up to the full devotional, initiated devotee commitment. And Prabhupada said, it's okay. Your child is crying, you take care of your child. You need to. Chanting those 16 rounds when your child is hungry, or when your child is bereft of a father or a mother's association when it is most needed, that's not going to please Krishna. It is as good as those Brahmins chanting and knowing the full Vedas. Vedesha durlabham adurlabham atma bhakto govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. In the Brahma Samhita, Brahmaji says that even by knowing the full Vedas, he is durlabh. Now Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is very extremely, one can actually attain him. But Vedesha durlabham, adurlabham. Adurlabham means the opposite. Atma bhakta, when there is pure love. And real love is when one has that wonderful balance. And Krishna consciousness means what? It's a very, very wonderful topic actually. Krishna consciousness means that whatever family that Krishna has given us, karmana daiva netrana dehu jantu upapate, conversation between Kapil Dev and Dehuti Mata. Under the supervision of the Supreme Lord, one gets a befitting parents. So basically it means that somehow or the other, it is due to their past karma, these jivas have taken shelter in a human form of life, in a human parents, and those parents who are Vaishnavas or devotees, nothing like it. But at the same time, a real Vaishnava is always thinking that this boy or this girl or this family, I'm just the caretaker. That is real Krishna consciousness. Thakur Bhaktivinoda has explained that. Manasa deha geha jo kichu more arpilu tuapade nanda kishore. Everything, all the things, including my there's another bhajan where he says, my daughter, my son, my wife, all these are yours, Krishna. I'm simply a caretaker of them. So if we do not take care of them, then we are doing disservice to Sri Krishna. Because if that jiva somehow or the other has been given a chance to be born in a Krishna conscious family, then we are responsible to give them that Krishna consciousness. And if we behave in a certain way which will drive them away or make them averse, then that will be the biggest disservice in our Krishna consciousness. So yes, there has to be a balance. It doesn't mean that if a child is stubborn and wants something that is out of the normal and beyond which is bad for their own progress, then even a normal parent who is not even Krishna conscious or in spiritual life puts their foot down. So good balance is very important. And then these children will respect that. And no matter where they go to college, they are single, they leave the house, they will never touch meat. They will never touch any intoxicants. They will always remember the good that they learned from the practical experience of their parents. So actually charity begins at home. We all are very responsible. Nobody should be blaming the children that day because of their association outside, they got spoiled. No, they already got spoiled because of the bad association right inside the house. And that is the reason why they went astray. So yes, the answer to this is our behavior. And there has to be a very, even great Vaishnavas like Bhaktivinoda Thakur used to chastise the children. And he said, I'm going to chastise you because Krishna has given me as a caretaker of you. So I have to make sure that I do my job correctly. And sometimes he used to chastise Srila Bhakti Siddhanta. You all know that incident when you picked up a mango without offering at the tender age of 4 or 5 years old. Bhaktivinoda Thakur chastised the child, saying that first it has to be offered to Krishna. You should not eat anything without offering to Krishna. But that was a very mild chastisement, not that he was beaten up or anything like that. Something that he took home, that yes, I am an offender. And then Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur never touched a mango in the rest of his life. Anybody offered him, he said, I am an offender. This is what I did. So this is what he took the rest of his life, his father's teachings. And it was not that his father was always very sweet and giving him everything he wanted. So as we can see through this example. So this is something that we all need to learn, whether it is our grandkids or our children, our nieces or nephew. At the end of the day, it's love. And if the love is not shown in Krishna consciousness and only if fanaticism shows up, and then all they hear is, oh, we hear that, such and such a person has such and such a problems in the temple. Then they concentrate mainly on the problems and not on the solutions or not on the good things. And then it makes the entire life we are risking. It's like playing Russian roulette with our kids, and if they run away, who knows when they will get their next birth as a human being, especially if they go astray from, the principles of Krishna consciousness and bhakti. So thank you. It was a wonderful question. And I hope I was able to, throw a little bit of light on this subject matter.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Vaishnava Das. Thank you so much, Puja Mataji. Thank you so much, Satyanarayana Prabhu. Puja Mataji, can I ask you second question if time permits or if it's okay?
Yes,
Yeah,
Prabhuji.
go ahead, Prabhuji. Go ahead. No problem.
So that was from the child's perspective. I would shift the same focus to the devotee perspective. Like we all can be in Krishna consciousness for the last 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. Now, a devotee knows, or is trying to know the basic Vedic culture through Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, association of devotees, all the knowledge acquired. Yes, we can say, okay, we are trying to learn that. We are not there yet, but we are trying to learn that. Now, my question is, the devotees, although having that base of the knowledge from our Guru Maharaj and everybody, still, Mataji, devotee tends to deviate, or should I say, not 24/7, keeping that in mind that look, Jivere Swarupe Hoy Nitya Krishna Das. Many times with the forces of this world, we try to sway away, and then we tend to forget, that look, my identity is that I am the servitor of Krishna, and then we get carried away with what's happening, and then that knowledge at the back will pull us back that, wait a minute, what am I doing? After all, karta hamiti manyate, prakrute kriyamani gune karmani sarvasa, ahankara vimoratma karta ham iti manyate. I think that I am the doer, but I am not the doer. But that is at the back of the mind that comes to our rescue at the end moment, yes. But time being, my question is, we get carried away to those forces of material nature. How do we, Mataji, make sure that, the frequency of that getting carried away gets reduced day by day, using the very same knowledge which our Acharyas and Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada gave us so mercifully, Mataji?
Well, I think we will always be in the situations that are not conducive to us remembering 24 hours. We will always be in, I think of Arjuna's complex situation that he was in. It was awful. And Queen Kunti, how she always prayed for these situations to happen again and again so that she could have a chance to remember Krishna if she was in dire distress. So I think when looking back at our problems at the time that seem like problems, or our situations that make us forget and to end up in this stressful, anxious situation, these are not situations that we're going to remember in 5 years and 10 years. These are the older we get, the more we look back and say, I don't even remember that. Like, that was such a big deal at the moment, but I don't remember that at all. Encountering these situations, I think, is is the ongoing lesson. The more we encounter them, the more we can learn and be self-aware as to how we're going to deal with them. As far as lessening them, they will always pop up. We're in the material energy, so that's what this is about. It's where we are. This is the time that we're in, and these are the kinds of circumstances that we have to deal with. But dealing with these things is a psychological trick on the mind. Are we dealing with them, or are we just going through them? We have all the tools in our hands from the Vedas, from the learned scholars, to address these issues, to not get distressed. A devotee is equipoised in every situation. So the more situations we're put in, the more practice we can get to be as equal in all of these situations, to face the dualities in life. The more opportunities to suffer, the more expert you can get, I guess you can say. I think I would address it to the senior devotees as well.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much.
One line answer, if you will allow me. Good association, even within the devotee community. That is the key. And good association, the impetus is good desires. I'm talking, this is all within Krishna consciousness, because you address this in regards to devotees, the adults especially, not the children. So that intense desire, constant desire to have good association, either through the physical association of devotees or through books or teachings, that will keep us on our guard. That is what most of us have to be always praying. When we are praying to the good Lord, please, I have unlimited Ashesha Kamna Riddhi Maje Mora. I have unlimited material desires within my heart. But please help me, oh dear Krishna, because you are the Supreme Lord, situated as Paramatma in everybody's heart. So please give me some better association. That intense desire itself is the qualifier. Haribol.
Prabhu, thank you so much, Prabhu. That's wonderful. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
In fact, that is the key of everything, Prabhu, because we cannot understand even any shastras on our own. If you and me think that, okay, let me close the doors, not meeting anybody and just read Bhagavad Gita, you will have millions of questions unanswered. So you've got to associate with devotees, ask questions, and thereby uplift yourself, holding each other's hands, slowly. That is most valuable. I fully agree with you. Thank you so much.
No, and one more thing, just like, in our practical experience, supposing if you want to excel, or if we want to excel in a particular subject or a sport, what do? If we want to get better and better, then we have to associate with better players. Let's say you want to excel in hockey or in cricket or whatever game, chess. Then if you play with those persons who are not such experts, let's put it that way, or not better than us, then what will happen is we will never get that push, or we will not be able to push ourselves to those limits where we can excel. The same thing can be applied even in spiritual life. Generally, what is happening is we are mostly associating with kanishtas. Kanishta means the knee signs, persons who are inflicted mostly, the three kinds of Vaishnavas, as you know, Kanishta, Madhyam, and Uttam. And even within that, there are three delineations: Kanishta, 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 Madhyam, Kanishta, Uttam, Madhyam, Kanishta, Madhyam, 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 Uttam, Uttam, Kanishtam, Uttam, Madhyam, Uttam, Uttam. So what is happening is, in our society, when we see in the devotional community, for many years we are associating with the same kind of people, and our example becomes the same persons. And what they do that may be wrong, we consider that as right because such and such a devotee has done it. But we do not look at the examples of the Madhyam, Uttam, and the Uttam Adhikaris. When we set our standard higher, then we will understand. And that is the best way to do that is learning Vaishnava songs, Prabhuji. Even the Uttam Adhikaris like Narottam Das Thakur, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, all those Vishwanath Chakri Thakur, all those songs that we see in our songbooks, how humble they are and how amazingly they say, I lack this quality, I lack that quality, I lack so much, I lack devotion, and things like that. And here we are, when we do a little bit, we think, oh, I did so much, I did so much. And then we are surrounded by such persons, canisters, oh, you've done great, oh, you've done great. So then we really feel like we have done great. So our association and our desires will bring about the right association. So that is the key, as you just repeated, that is the key in all circumstances. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So if there's anybody else who may want to ask a question, we can
Yes,
take one.
Swamiji, I have a question.
Yes.
My name is Pramod Goyal. I'm from Niagara Falls. I'm quite excited that the temple is going to be here. I listened to a lecture today. It's great, and it will be a great thing. And when do you think it is the target date that you're going to open?
Okay, so I will, like I just said earlier, that when it is safe to do so, but I will kind of have Vaishnadas Prabhuji answer.
Yeah, I met him a few times. I met Swamiji when he came to Niagara Falls. That was my pleasure.
Yeah, nice. So again, the answer is, it all depends on the government regulation and how safe it is. Once it is safe, trust me, we will be the first ones to announce it and say, come on down now. We have a place where we can congregate, we can all dance, we can all sing, we can all have prasadam together. So it is going to happen very soon. Things are promising because every day we hear the
I want to see the Rath Yatra at the falls.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Yeah.
But Vaishnava Prabhu, if you want to address and add a little bit more to Mr. Goel's question, go ahead, please.
Yeah.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you.
Hare Krishna, Mr. Goyal, and welcome
Hare
to
Krishna.
our Saturday program. It is such a pleasure to have you on this event, and I'd like to introduce you to my colleagues and associates.
Yeah.
Mr. Goyal has been a very, very helpful person in encouraging the Hare Krishnas in Niagara Falls. He has connected us with quite a few people in the area and gave us the confidence that we need to start the Hare Krishna movement in Niagara Falls. I'm really indebted to you, Mr. Goyal, for all your kindness to you and your family.
It's my pleasure. Something that I'm learning. I'm new to this Iskcon, but again, I like it and I want to help or anything I can do for the Iskcon. Thank you.
And thank you for your nice question, because as you know, we've been to the city of Niagara Falls looking at different options, and you made some recommendations, which we're also considering at this time. Right now, due to COVID, it has put a real damper on our enthusiasm to get some property. So we are virtually online, as you see today, but we do have plans for a temporary location in April 2021. This is a temporary place, and once settled there for a few months or year, we will then venture out into some physical, permanent location. And we will seek all your help back again. And we look forward to working with you very closely, and hopefully we'll have a great 2021.
Anything I can do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Goyal.
You're welcome.
Mr. Goel, thank you so much. Welcome aboard.
Thank you. Just call me Pramod, no Mr. Goyal.
That's one of the things that I wanted to add to Pitambar Prabhu's point, that we should always respect our elders. That's one of the things. Respecting, that's the Vedic culture. So I will call you Mr. Goel.
Yeah.
And
anytime.
And you will always be respected by all of us because of your security and because of your wisdom.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So if anybody doesn't have any further questions, then we will come to the concluding part of the program, which was the closing kirtan. So Anybody else has any other questions, reflections, comments? Okay. So I would like to thank once again all those who are present and those who are encouraging us for this Iskcon Niagara Falls project. And we're looking forward to this becoming a huge service to mankind, for their spiritual upliftment especially. So without further ado, we will now enter into the last part of the program, which is Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Govinda Jai Jai Gopal Jai Jai Govinda Jai Jai Gopal Jai Jai Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jai Jai Govinda Jai Jai Gopal Jai Jai Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jai Jai Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare हे गोविंद हे गोपाल बोलो राधे गोविंदा हे राधे गोविंदा हे राधे गोपाला हे राधे गोपाला राधे 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 जय जय श्री राधे बोलो राधे 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 जय जय श्री राधे जय राधा मदन मोहन राधा मदन मोहन राधे राधे जय राधा गोविंद राधा गोविंद राधे राधे जय राधा गोपीनाथ राधा गोपीनाथ राधे राधे जय राधा रमण राधा रमण राधे राधे जय राधा गोकुलानंद राधा गोकुलानंद राधे राधे जय राधा दामोदर राधा दामोदर राधे राधे जय राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर राधे राधे जय कृष्ण बलराम जय वृंदावन धाम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय वृंदावन धाम जय ललिता विशाखा जय राधे श्याम जय ललिता विशाखा जय राधे श्याम जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय निताय गौरांग निताय गौरांग Nitai Gauranga Gaur Hari. Jaya Sachinandana Gaur Hari. Jaya Sachinandana Gaur Hari. Gaur Hari. Jaya Sachinandana Gaur Hari. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Kalyuga Pavan Hari Naam Sankirtan ki jai. Samsar Dava Nalali Loka Tranaya Karunya Ghana Ghanatvam Praptasya Kalyana Gunarnavasya Vande Guru Shri Charana Ravindam Yasya Prasadad Bhagavad Prasado Yasya Aprasadan Nagati Kutopi Dhayanstuam Stasya Yashyastri Sandhya Vande Guru Shri Charanar Vindam Vande Guru Shri Charanar Vindam Vande Guru Shri Charanar Vindam Vande Guru Shri Charanar Vindam. Hare Krishna. Thank you once again. See you next Saturday, 3:30 p.m. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to all the Vaishnavas. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Jayom Vishnupad Paramansa Parivajagacharya Ashtottara Sri Srimad His Divine Grace Abhay Charanaravindra Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ji ki jai. Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya Acharya Guru Var ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत श्री गदाधर श्री वासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय. श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय. श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय. श्री मायापुर नवद्वीप धाम की जय. पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय. गंगा माई की जय. जमुना माई की जय. तुलसी देवी की जय. भक्ति देवी की जय. Samaved Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you. Hare Krishna.